Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the MPC Live 2, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. The last video that I did, we went over the hierarchy of the MPC from project to sequence to track to program. And today I want to just focus more on programs, but we're going to have to talk about tracks. And you'll find that a lot of the data structures and things within the MPC and how you have to think about them are all interrelated, and we'll get through all this. But the important thing to know is that it's not at the program level here, you are able to select for whatever type is selected in track and kind of scroll through. So we can select none, right? You're always going to get this program 001 as your default when you boot it up and go into an empty project. And this is just a drum program. Drum programs are really good for playing one-shots. You can kind of use them for sustained content, and you can use 16 levels to take and play a note potentially up or down, I think 12 semitones. Depends on what you have for your 16 level setting, and I'll go into those kinds of things, but you're not going to be wanting to use this for sustained loops. That's a different program type, and because what ends up happening is that the envelope for the like the velocity, the volume level, slowly will decay. You can make it play for quite a long time, but it's just not the best way to do it. Next up, you've got this plugin type, and you can see as soon as I selected it, it created a blank plugin program. I can go into the plugin value here, select different plugins. Some of them are free. Well, actually, there's a lot of them are free. There's a fair amount that are now paid, but if you're interested, definitely check that out. But this is going to be, if you're coming from a DAW standpoint, your like VST or audio unit kind of thing. I don't know if Akai's using VSTs or they have their own format, but this is what's baked in. And if you're in controller mode, you can use plugins from your computer, but I'm using in standalone mode right now, so I have to use whatever's built in and available. But this is going to be where you have your ability to set presets and configure things. And next up, we have key groups. A key group is where you're going to have your program that has one or more samples in it. And if you're traditionally, you would have like a piano, and it's going to have multiple layers for different velocities potentially, and it may have multiple samples for different notes, just so that you can recreate as authentic a sound as possible. So if you're looking for that, key groups are probably what you want, and you can actually use the auto sampler in the Akai MPC to auto sample external instruments and things and create really cool, quick sample key grouped sample programs. Up next, we've got clip program. There's some problems I personally have with the clip program, but if you are ultimately looking to create I'll say Ableton Live Lite, not like their light version of the program, but just like a similar or comparable to Ableton Live or like a mini Akai Force kind of setup, you can see here you've got different colored rows or columns, and these are basically, if I plug in like a drum loop 1, drum loop 2, drum loop 3, and 4, they'll automatically already be set up to just mute each other, kind of like how you would have your different setups in Arranger view and your play view in Ableton. So if you're looking to play loops, this would probably be the mode that you're going to want to set up and configure, is the clip view. You've now got MIDI. This is what you want if you're going to be controlling external instruments and synths. And you can see here, like I can select the port. I've got a USB adapter that's got a whole bunch of different settings on it, but you're typically going to have, at least on the MPC Live 2, you're going to have an MPC A and an MPC B. So you have two MIDI ports on the back that you can address to send MIDI content to. But if you want to come in and control other parameters like the MIDI channel that you're actually sending to, you have to do that up in the track view. Last up, we've got CV, and the addition to the Live 2 was to add CV. The MPC X had that. The MPC 1 had it, but the Live 2 is the one that got the extra version updates. And this allows you to actually send control voltage signals out to whether it's a guitar pedal or other like Euro rack or other gear. So you can address like you could basically set which of the 8 CV ports you've got, CV 1 through 8. And that is going to take whatever content you have for note data, mod wheel, velocity, and like just the trigger gate and things. So this CV program is what you want to do. A couple other thoughts would be, I personally would go through and make sure you're naming all of these things as you're creating them and using them, because it's very easy to have like the CV001. And if you come in and have a new track and you're doing CV001, you can cause yourself an awful lot of headache if you're overlapping CV ports and things. Or, if you've got a drum kit here that happens to be set to a mono and you have 2 tracks that are addressing it, you're going to start hearing notes chop off and cause you some confusion potentially about what's going on. So I would be naming these things, making them different, and kind of working with them separately. And we'll get into some of this in the future, but I just wanted to like kind of say, it's very easy. Just hit this plus button. You can create multiple programs and plug it. You can do up to 8 plugins. You'll see like once I get up to 8, it says I got the maximum number, but you can create plenty of these things. So just go crazy. You got a good amount of memory. I think it's around like 2 gigs. That's 1.5, 1.2 or 1.5 is addressable. So you can get a really good amount of programs and samples and things loaded up. Whatever quick other thoughts do I have? Yeah, I guess like that's kind of programs. I'll get into loading things and working with it in the future, but just want to kind of give you the overview of what a program is and kind of it's weird sometimes to think about, but you have to address it through this track view. Anyway, everybody, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good, and peace.